Here to the Re Solnare, the core of what it means to be Mandalorian, the sacred law giving us direction and purpose. Education and armor, self-defense, our tribe, our language, our leader, all help us survive. We must educate our children as Mandalorians, obey the commands of Mandalore, speak Mandoa, and defend our clans.
Trust only in the Force.
Hey guys, I had to throw that one a throwback to our opening. Had to add our little Force bit to it because, of course, you know we are the defenders of the Fraternal Order of the Jedi, and of course, with us is Jedi Joe, our Priory historian, Sai, the Marshal of Fasta, the Wolf of the Mandalorians, Dakar, and I am, of course, Calibus Ran. We make up the Covert, and today we want to talk about the Bad Batch. We have a couple of episodes that we want to talk about. It was kind of, I don't know, Dakar and I have been talking about this for a while. That the first episode we want to talk about, of course, seemed more of a filler episode. We're gonna go find this treasure. I found it funny that at the end of the adventure they go, well, we're 2 for 0 when it comes to treasure hunting. It just was one of those things that kind of felt kind of, not too solid an episode. Definitely a filler episode in my opinion. And then, of course, I want to talk about what you think the origins of the mech was from. So let's just start with you, Dakar. Your thoughts on the episode?
Well, I told you I like the pirate character, but it's just a funny character to me. I like that character. I told you and Sai, though, it kind of had a Hobbit vibe to me with how it was. I love that mech, though, talking about going back to well beyond. And until me and you would talk, I hadn't played the game, so I wasn't sure until me and you discussed it. And I'm gonna let somebody else say that one. But it wasn't a bad episode. But like you said, it was filler.
All right, definitely. Sai.
I really enjoyed the episode. I really did. I thought it was neat. I had a hard time taking Wanda Sykes' voice out of the character, so that took me out of it a little bit. Her voice is just so prominent. Not that I'm saying anything against her or her acting ability. It's just when an actor is so iconic for something, it can take you out of the whole feeling and the world. And that's the only big issue I had with it. I love the giant robot. I thought that was great, cool. The different kind of technology that was used, and I kind of did pick up on what Eric was saying about the Lord of the Rings at first with the mountain, but it really didn't hit hard until he said about how the robot was like the dragon Smog, and I was like, wow, okay, now it really hits.
Okay, we when we talked about that, I was kind of like, okay, yeah, I can see that. So everybody's been talking about it. Everybody's been saying that it was a Zepho ancient mech. And if you go back, or if you go to Wikipedia or whatever, or you go to the Star Wars site, you can see the design of the Zepho. They've got these sentinels, and the head design is very similar to the mech. which would also bring in Jedi Fallen Order, and now dropping in March, we're getting Jedi Survivor. Unfortunately, I don't believe it is going to be playable on the Xbox One or the PS4. I think it's only for the next gen of systems, which is to me is still a great loss. I still don't understand why you'd want to shut your previous system down. I mean, I get it. You're unwinding. You're progressing to the next system, but still, if you're still making games for the PS4 or the Xbox One, why not include that? Why not get that extra scratch? But anyway, so March 1st, in March, Jedi Survivor drops, which would kind of coincide because Jedi Survivor takes place after Order 66, when the Inquisitors are hunting down Jedi, which is this Bad Batch Ben Kenobi time period. You know what I mean? So I'm very interested in maybe if we're going to see more about that. Again, we're talking about Bad Batch episodes 5 and 6. Entombed and Tribe. For those of you who aren't wondering about what was going on and what we were talking about. Jedi Joe, your thoughts?
Oh, so Calibus, gentlemen, before we start, I must say that your intro was quite on spot. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I can't remember if it's a new one or if it's just something that's enhanced, but I really, really enjoyed it. So I hope the viewers thought it was pretty cool too. So I really do appreciate that Jedi popping in there like that. I really do. As far as the episode is concerned, like y'all said in the beginning, it sucks to sometimes go behind everybody else because they take all the great answers. Sai pretty much did that to me just now. Wanda Sykes, she's from this area. She's from Portsmouth, Virginia Beach area, somewhere in this area. So when you hear her name or hear about her, you think this area. And, she's a comedian for the most part. And I keep seeing her in other movies, but not in something like Star Wars. But like you said, it was a filler episode. I think it had some great stuff. Plus, I'm a big fan of the Bad Batch, so I liked it. But it was a filler episode.
All right. Well, it's funny that we all kind of, got to the conclusion of that, but I really thought that it was, I have to admit too, hearing Wanda Sykes' voice every time, it's iconic, definitely. So when you do hear it, you automatically go, oh, that's Wanda Sykes. You know that voice. As far as the female pirate part goes, the car and I, again, we were talking about it. It is very Jack Sparrowish. It is very female, and here's something that I think everybody should take away from this. We don't see her as a woman of color. We just see her as this character, this pirate character. And that's what makes a character good. When you're not saying, oh, the black pirate, you know what I mean? When you have to do that, you kind of diminish the character. But when you're saying the female pirate and everybody knows who you're talking about, that's what makes a character great. I love the vibro sword. I don't know if it's a vibro sword she had, but I love that little sword she had. I thought that was neat that not everybody is still using a lightsaber or something else. There's still edged weapons in this galaxy far, far away. I love that part about her. For the most part, I mean, Simon, I'm pretty sure you remember this. The old FASTA is it FASTA? The role-playing game, the Star Wars role-playing game.
The old FASTA stuff?
Was it Star Wars? Was it FASTA or was it something else?
It was West End Games was the old
West
stuff.
End Games,
Yeah.
right? The
Yep.
3D6 game, right?
Yes.
If you recall, there was a pirate archetype for
Yes.
the game.
Yes, there was. Yeah.
So I found that neat that they keep it in there. I mean, Lando was the first time in Star Wars. Yo, get out of here, you pirate! That's the first time that you actually hear it. We get that in Return of the Jedi, as he takes the Falcon and goes away with the Falcon, does whatever, and then of course we also get that, and of course Force Awakens when Han Solo is pirating and smuggling goods, again. But I just found it really interesting the way the character was really developed. She is becoming a likable character. I at first I was kind of like, I'm not sure if I'm really going to like her, because of the way she kind of was, but she's growing on me. You know what I mean? She's growing on me, and I find it interesting that we can actually bring out a character on that level. And like I said, when you can describe this character, or if you can just say, hey, the pirate female character, what do you think of her? Or the pirate character, without even saying female, and everybody knows who you're talking about, I think that character speaks for itself. You know what I'm saying? Anybody have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's saying about Wanda Sykes' voice. Um, if you sit there and you think about it, me and Calvus had talked about it, and you got that kind of Jack Sparrow vibe. I think her voice fits perfectly with that because she is such a great comedian that you do get that Jack Sparrow pirate comedic vibe just through her vocalization, as well as how they've written the character. And yeah, that character is definitely growing on me just because it is Wanda Sykes.
Okay, cool. All right, gentlemen, let's get into this episode. I think the next episode, which is Tribe. I don't know. We've got Wookiee fans here. I think all of us are big Wookiee fans.
Yeah.
I know Jedi Joe. He and I. Well, shit. Dakar too. We all have this love for the Millennium Falcon, and as big fans of the Millennium Falcon, that's a package deal because it comes with the best smuggler, and it comes with the co-pilot of co-pilots, the Wookiee himself, Chewbacca. Don't get me wrong. Crescent Black is great. He may even have beaten Chewbacca in a fight according to comic books, but no Wookiee is more iconic than Chewbacca. And now we are introduced to the first Wookiee Jedi. And I don't know about you guys, but I was really wondering where he went. And I have to bring this up. The reason why I played that kind of intro was because we have a Jedi Wookiee. You know what I mean? So I thought that was kind of fitting. So Jedi Joe, I'm going to start with you. Your thoughts on the Jedi Wookiee?
Oh, I was so excited when he pulled up and saw that lightsaber and used his powers to get a hold of it. And I said, wait a minute, I've seen him before. And I remember y'all talking before the show, and I believe he was part of that story that Sai referred me to about where the Padawans, these particular Padawans, had to go and find their crystals and everything. And I think that was the episode that I watched. And then seeing him in this one was even great. Ain't nothing I can say bad about it. It's just that, we see one Wookiee throughout the whole Star Wars saga as Chewbacca, but then when we see others, it's really, really interesting. And I think they could do more. I really would like to see more come out of Kashyyyk and everything. And then also, there was another movie that was twisted in this episode. Maybe because it's out in theaters now and it's doing very well. But when they were talking about how the Wookiees could actually connect with the trees, and then the trees could kind of talk back and everything, and you heard where the trees were able to help protect themselves from other invaders. It was almost like a Avatar feel for me. And I thought that was cool because I'm a big fan of Avatar, but it was very interesting how they kind of threw that in this Star Wars universe, but using kind of an Avatar thing. If you haven't seen Avatar, which I'm sure most of you have, it is a great show. I heard that the second movie was good, but going back to the Wookiee, I enjoyed it. It was a great show.
All right, Sai, let me get your take on it, sir. The Wookiee, the Jedi Wookiee.
Okay, so this is probably gonna go against what you guys were thinking, but when I saw Omega, I was like, she's gonna get herself in trouble. And then as soon as I saw the Wookiee, I was like, oh no, the bad robots are gonna be mean to her. Yep, that's exactly what happened. I was like, just leave it alone. You don't know if the Wookiee did something wrong. You don't know. He could be a criminal Wookiee. Don't get the bad bats in trouble. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna get them all killed. They're not gonna get paid again. But then and then I saw him bring out the lightsaber. I was like, oh crap, now I feel bad. He's a Jedi. The clones are gonna feel obligated to help him now because they're gonna feel guilty about Order 66, even though they weren't really a part of it. And then it was like, oh, and then it was the whole tribe, and it was like, oh man, yeah. I saw the village and the people. I saw them fighting back, and I really loved it. I had a couple other little qualms, but tackle those in the next question set.
All right. I definitely want to hear what you had problems with. Dakar, Marshall of Fasta.
I like this episode. This episode more so than the previous episodes. Only because you got to see the growth of Omega. You had her in the last episode as that childlike wonder looking for treasure. In this one, she's kind of got that more mature, we need to help, and growing in that. The Wookiee Jedi. Where do I begin with how much I love this? Because, I am a big Wookiee fan. I love my Wookiees. Just absolutely fantastic to see Gunji back and know that he survived Order 66 because nobody knew until now. And that was just great to know that he is still with us. We still have our little Wookiee Jedi youngling.
Nice. I was too as impressed. Especially like Jedi Joe said, when they were touching the trees and they were communing with the trees and the living force of the planet and everything else. It makes me, when I go to Galaxy's Edge, it makes me want to maybe do one of the elements of nature lightsabers. You know what I mean? Because I kind of jive with that. I like that. I really do. I thought that was a really special thing. I love anything that we get more background on the characters. And the prequels, we got to see Kashyyyk. We got to see, more than one Wookiee. Of course, Chewbacca was there fighting the Empire. We also got to find out that the Empire targeted the Wookiees first. And that was something that I was kind of like, wow. But I get it. A planet full of these big, strong, mechanically inclined entities. I mean, from the Empire standpoint, yeah, they'd make great slave labor. I mean, I hate to be that guy, but I get it. At the same time, you damn sure don't want them rebelling up against you. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. So I definitely loved it. I love the fact that when I saw him, I kept thinking, I was like, is that same Wookiee that was after that crystal? And then when he grabbed his lightsaber, pulled his lightsaber out, I was like, oh man, that's cool. And the fact that it was green, you know, you know, I mean, I thought that was a nice little touch, forest green, nature, that sort of thing. But it was definitely a treat to see him. And then, of course, meeting with that whole tribe. And she brought him in, and then she was talking about Omega and Gunji being, you know, children with their childhood taken away, but they have family. I love that part of it. I thought that was really a thing that was embraced and really great. Any problems with either episodes? I know, Sai, you started out with some problems, so let's go with you, sir.
Okay. Well, I did not really a problem for this point, but those spider creatures looked an awful lot like the same as that robot in the previous one. They had that same long neck and they walked on multiple legs. Weren't exactly the same, but they had some similarities. I'm not sure if that was a design aesthetic happen chance or if they did it on purpose. The other thing is, they spent a lot of time on the forest ground of Kashyyyk, and Kashyyyk is supposed to be having some of the most dangerous creatures in the universe down on that forest floor. Uh, I don't really. I was like, shouldn't there be more than just like tiger apes coming around? But that was one little qualm. But they might not have been that deep in the forest. My other qualm was how they portrayed the Trandoshans. They're supposed to be almost equally in strength physically with Wookiees. It's one of the reasons why they always had a really horrible rivalry. It was always the contest between the two. And this is like the second time that we've seen the Trandoshans, you know, going after and enslaving. And they just, I hate to say it, but they kind of made them look hillbillyish with the type of styling. And I'm like, you would think that a society that is professionally involved in slaving would be a little bit more slick looking. They'd be a little bit more organized than just a bunch of hillbilly rednecks in their tricked out pickup trucks with the blaster on the end of it going in. And I'm like, wait a minute, come on. I mean, the Wookiees are not easy pushovers.
Well, I mean, maybe the great scorekeeper didn't.
Yeah, you know what? That's probably what it is.
The great scorekeeper didn't. Well, I mean, they kind of got this primitive thing, and their whole thing is the great scorekeeper.
Yeah.
That does all this other stuff, and for every kill or every victory they get, the scorekeeper tallies their thing, or every defeat. You know what I mean? I agree with you. I think they do kind of make them look kind of dumbed down.
Yeah.
I don't think they make them look as awesome as they should kind of look, like Bosk did.
Yes, exactly.
On that Star Destroyer, because when you saw him and he,
yes,
I was kind of like, well, damn, that's something I don't want to run into.
Yeah, and they definitely made them
a cartoon, and like you said, you're like, wow, these guys look a little backwards.
Yeah, especially the way they talked. I mean, that's not how Boss talked. I wasn't intimidated by these guys' hissing talk.
Okay, Jedi Joe, your thoughts on what Simon just said?
I was just kind of curious. Isn't Sid that same type of creature?
Yes, Sid is Trandoshan. Yeah.
Okay. I was kind of, when I saw them a couple of times and I thought about Sid, I was like, boy, that's kind of interesting. Not really any complaints. Yeah, I do. I have one complaint. Can it be longer than just 20 minutes? I mean, us Star Wars fans want to have a little bit more than 20 minutes or 29 minutes per episode. I could go for about 35, 40 minutes, maybe an hour. I mean, God help us if it was on regular TV, what they would do to cut that up, get 5 minutes of commercials and 2 minutes of the show. I mean, but I mean, we are watching it on Disney Plus. Maybe I shouldn't run my mouth, but I guess my thing is I like the Bad Batch so much. I like to see them go a little bit longer on the time. There you go.
Okay. I mean, I have my only real complaint, and then I'm gonna get to the wolf. My only real complaint is that I get not every episode can be a story episode. I know that they have to have a little bit of filler here and there, or they want to go to a backstory with, say, Tech or Echo, because they didn't really kind of get into the limelight as much as, let's just face it, Crosshair, God, man,
Hunter, Wrecker.
or Wrecker, and because Wrecker's my favorite. I like Wrecker.
Mm-hmm.
I like the brute. I like the big guy that just wants to wreck stuff, blow stuff up. I mean, that's my favorite. But I get it, but at the same time, I really want them to take their time with the show, and I really 20 to 30 minutes. I'm kind of good with that, because I just don't want them giving us anything. If you don't really have a good story to tell, or you're just giving me a filler episode, just keep it at your little 30 minutes and move on. Because I am just tired of, not well-produced shows, and you're just throwing anything out there just to say it's Star Wars, and it's not. Dakar, your thoughts?
Well, I didn't have a problem really with either episode. I mean, yes, the one was a filler episode, but we did end up with a little bit of character growth even in the filler episode. We got just a little bit of background of the pirate. Now, second one, the tribe, we ended up with again, character growth. So I really didn't have a problem with either one of them. Like Joe, I would like them to be just a little bit longer at times, but at the same time, my ADHD attention span don't let me go for that 45-minute episode anyway, so it kind of works for me.
Okay.
But definitely no problem.
All right. Well, as we come to the end of this, we try to keep our shows at least, somewhere around the 30-minute mark, or just a little bit under. I don't know about you guys, but I am so excited for The Mandalorian, which is definitely going to take our episodes from 30 minutes to an hour, I'm pretty sure, because of the scope, the mere scope of what's going to be going on. And we're hoping to get back the Mandalorian historian along with our Priory historian, so we can really talk about all of this. Jedi Joe, of course, I know you're excited because they'll be talking about the Darksaber and the lore of the first Mandalorian Jedi. So it's going to be something that we can all really get into. And at the same time, we still have to talk about the Bad Batch, because I think it'll still be going on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to be pulling double duty, guys. Mandalorian and Bad Batch all at the same time every 2 weeks, which is going to be just, oh my God, I cannot wait. And normally I'm that guy that here on the East Coast, at 3:01 it starts to play a.m. and usually I'm up. I used to get up before I went to work because I had to be to work at 4 in the morning. So I would get up extra early just to catch the Mandalorian and then, rock it to work or catch the first 30 minutes of it and then head out to work. And then, and then on my break, catch the last 20 minutes of it or whatever it was on my lunch break. But I'm very excited to see it. I'm very excited. I can't wait. And again, I want to thank you guys for joining me here at the Covert as we celebrate the Bad Batch and waiting for March to hit so we can get back in with our Mandalorian show. So, with that being said, I'll say what I always say. Follow the creed, trust in the Force, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.